action. If there is evil in this world, then how is God, who is infinitely good, able to exist? The question that Thomas Aquinas, who lived in the 13th century, poses points out 5 quite valid reasons that squash the question of God's existence. Motion, cause, contingency, degree, and design all point to the inability to avoid the truth of God's existence, although there are still those who deny this fact or just choose to ignore it. The ways that this video will focus on are the ways of motion, cause, and contingency. Let's move on to the first way, the way of motion. We all accept the fact that we are in motion, and therefore something or someone had to put us there. There are the things that are potential, and those that are actual. Something that is actual cannot also be potential. Aquinas uses the example that fire is hot while firewood has the potential to be hot. On the other hand, firewood also has the potential to be cold if no fire is added to make it hot. Aquinas then goes on to relate that something cannot both be the mover and moved. Let's use the example of birth. We as humans are physically incapable of giving birth to ourselves. Our parents were responsible for our birth, and their parents before them, and so on and so forth. If this is true, then who or what is the first mover? The one who made it possible for our birth to happen? The only plausible explanation would be to have a creator or God outside the circle of motion. He created the moon and stars and the sky and is responsible for all that is and all that will be. Aquinas then goes on to talk about the way of cause, or specifically efficient cause. Efficient cause is an agent that brings something into being or initiates a change. The first cause then produces the intermediate cause and then the ultimate cause. There's nothing that is known that is the efficient cause of itself. If there were, that would mean that it would be prior to itself, which is impossible. Let's use the example of birth again. We are not the cause of our birth. Our parents would have had to meet before we were even thought of. Before that, we would have to consider what happened in their lives that brought them to the point of meeting. There's no way that we as humans could have brought them together or formed their thoughts with the need to go to the place that caused them to meet each other in order for you to be born. Therefore, a first cause, the cause that begins the cycle of cause and effect, is needed. This cause is known to be God. Another way is the way of contingency. We as humans are contingent beings and therefore are not required to be in existence. Only through the grace of God are we all here today. In reality, there was a time when we were not. There is the possibility to be and not to be. So if there's this possibility of not being, there theoretically could have been a time where there was nothing in existence, but if this were an absolute truth, there would still be nothing in existence today. This is because if there was nothing in existence, then there would be nothing in existence that would have had the ability to put everything that we know and love in existence. This means that there must be something or someone that is necessary, but everything that is necessary had its necessity caused by another. We cannot go back and forth in this necessity circle, which means that it is not something that created its own existence, but rather gave others their existence. This is again putting God outside of our own little circle of existence and shows his power and control over everything. Aquinas quotes Augustine in his conclusion with this: "Since God is the highest good, he would not allow any evil to exist in his works, unless his omnipotence and goodness were such as to bring good even out of evil. God allows evil to exist because he is God. If there were no evil in this world, how would we be able to measure the goodness of God? We wouldn't. God also brings goodness out of even the most evil things in this world. Because bad things happen to us Christians, we are able to learn and grow from them and are able to testify to those who have been put through similar situations and therefore are able to affect the whole world." In Mark 16:15, Jesus tells his disciples to go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. If we did not encounter these necessary evils, there would not be a way for us to preach the gospel to all of creation. So the question posed, if there is an evil in this world, how is God able to exist? But I ask in return, if there were no evil in the world, then how or why would God exist?